Hey, what's up, fuckers? It's Vanta. Riding the 06 1200 Sportster because I dropped my CB like a week ago, I think a week and a half ago. I don't know what the fuck that guy was doing on the street. But, you know, I never liked this bike. Hey, it's my brother's now. You know, it's got stock pipes, but again, this is an 06, so emission regulations were much different back then, and this is fucking loud for being stock. Like, I do not like riding this bike for very long distances. For example, right now I gotta ride 20 miles to work, because after a while your eardrums just kind of, or your fucking brain just stops registering the vibrations, and you just hear ringing in your ears. Like, you just get really bad tinnitus after riding for such a long amount of time. And of course, that mentally just wears you out. And I noticed that cars kind of they drive a little bit more aggressively around you because they can hear you coming up and stuff. They don't want you to pass. But, I mean, aside from that, the seating position I do not like. You know, it's got, mini ape hangers on them, which aren't terrible. It's not what I would have chosen. I would have had bars closer to the steering stem. You know, to the where the fuck, I don't know what it's called, the triple tree. More like a dragster style bars, or club bars. But the forward foot pegs, I'm not a fan of either. But you know, after a week and a half of just riding this every day for 40 miles a day, I've gotten used to it. You know, I used to think, you can't be all that agile with these forward seated position, in low speeds like in the streets. But I would say this past week, I've changed my mind on that. You're still not nearly as agile as you would on a standard pegs, with pegs that are underneath your butt. But you can still do crazy shit on forward pegs. You just have to kind of lean into it like you would on a rear sets, or just like a sport bike. You lean into the bars, but you still don't have nearly as much control as you would on standard pegs. I'd say you're just as compromised on this as you are on rear sets, especially with the ape hangers. Again, not a fan, but it works. I guess it makes you look cooler. Again, I never really cared about how I look when riding, rather than how the actual bike looks. But I guess mini ape hangers are a good compromise. Plus, as you can see, this is an 06 Sportster. This was long before, this was a year before Harley started using polyurethane engine mounts. Because prior to that, they just mounted the engine directly onto the frame, or as people would call, steel mounts. So you're feeling every little vibration of the fucking engine. Like right now, if you try to look out through the mirrors, you could not, because the vibrations are just fucking sending us into a super position. You can't really tell what's going. You can kind of tell what's going on behind you in the mirrors, but right now, I'm going 80 miles an hour. Once you bring it down to 70 miles an hour, it does visibility does become much more manageable. But yeah, it's steel mounted engine, so you're feeling every vibration, which I don't know, like it puts into perspective how good we have it nowadays with modern engines. How they're modern engines are inherently lower, and they vibrate much less than their older counterparts. Plus, there's all the stuff, like your foot pegs are rubber mounted, the engine itself is rubber mounted, your handlebars are dampened. As opposed to this bike, you're feeling everything. Which again isn't a bad thing if you just ride bikes for fun. But for me, I'm commuting 20 miles to work. It wears you out. You know, I get to work tired. I just want to sleep on the first half of my shift because of, you know, I'm just still worn out from the ride out here. You know, your legs, your feet tend to get numb. Like, if you ever been to a theme park where they have like those massager chairs that vibrate the floor, you know, to massage your feet. That's exactly what my feet feel like right now with these pegs. Again, it just takes a while to get used to. I imagine if I were to ride this bike every single day for a few months, I would just get used to it. You know, my body would just toughen up to it. But it does tire me out. I do not. That's what I've been very like cranky these past few weeks, because I just haven't been able to ride my bike, which is, you know, buttery smooth. Yes, it's an inline four, has a bit of vibration to it, but not nearly as insane as this, where you're just being, you know, phased into superposition every time you go above 3,000 RPM. But again, it's cool. It's cool as a novelty ride. If you ride this every Sunday, whatever, it does feel cool. Another problem like you're seeing me deal with right now is this mirror doesn't work because it just gets vibrated out of place. So I'm gonna, if I remember tonight, to go into this, you know, adjust the mirror so I can have this mirror work for me all the time, because it's just very dangerous. I didn't realize how important having both mirrors are on a motorcycle until I started losing this one. And same with my younger brothers. I opted into riding my younger brother's Rebel 250 for a while, or just for a day, because I just got tired of the Harley. And same thing, he has the same problem, but on the opposite side of the bike. He's got this mirror that works, but the right side is not. You cannot adjust it because he has the handlebars bent. He has the whole mount bent. So I have to go fix that for him. I got to bleed the fucking front brake for him, because again, he just does not take care of his bike. He's never cleaned the change, even though I tell him, like, hey, like, I'm cleaning my change, just bring out yours, I can show you, but he just never does it. So again, I never again will I ride that bike until it's, you know, up to spec. So it looks like I'm trapped with the Harley, which again, this has its problems. For example, the clutch pin, the pin that holds the clutch onto the bars, onto the mount, it doesn't have the clip that holds it onto the mount. So I remember when I first started riding this, I didn't know about this, and I just saw the pin pop up, and I was like, oh shit, I was holding it down with my finger for the rest of the ride. But just as a little ghetto fix, I just got a little like a bungee cord strap and just wrapped it around the pin to make sure it doesn't fall out. And it's been like that for the past few days. You know, my brother, he's bought the clip, but he says it takes more than an hour to install a fucking clip, so he just hasn't gotten around to it. Oh shit, that's a pretty cool car. The Kia, whatever the fuck that was. But as you can see, I was not riding like this when I first started riding this bike, because I was very iffy about the seating position, you know, about the ergonomics. I wasn't very confident with it, but now that I'm, you know, it's like, oh, whatever. You just lean into the bars and it feels a bit more natural. That way you feel more planted in the bike. Not really planted, but it feels like, you know, you can handle more shit on it. But the power on this bike, I mean, I don't want to say I'm impressed, but I thought, you know, I was under the impression that Harleys were super underpowered. And yes, for their size, because some of their bikes, they go up to like, you know, 1.8 liters, whatever, I forget what they measure it by cubic inches. You know, this is a 1200. I was under the impression like, oh, this thing cannot. It's a waste of. It's not fast. But you know, after riding it for a while, being more comfortable with the seating position, more specifically just the suspension and the seating position, the ergonomics, being more comfortable with that, trusting the brakes a bit more. I realized this 1200, granted, yes, it is 1200 cc's, is fucking fast. This is just as fast as my 600, if not accelerates just slightly more. But because of the limitations of the technology, of the suspension more specifically. You know, you can't go nearly as fast as you would on my 650. You know, when it comes to like canyon riding and stuff. Like I remember the first few days of riding this, I checked the tire wear, and I was pretty much at like no chicken strips on the tires, like, which meant I was at the fucking limit of the suspension on this bike. Which is not a bad thing, you know. Most people don't even ride to that limit because they just lack the confidence. They lack the confidence, but or just they lack the skill, the confidence, the experience, whatever have you. But for me, who's just naturally at the limits of my CB650 all the time, I've nearly fucking washed out on this bike just on pure confidence. You know, just casually leaning into the corners and stuff. But yeah, I realized yesterday that I've gotten a lot more comfortable with this bike, you know, after a few weeks of riding it, because of like, as you can see, I'm just passing riders no problem. But so yesterday, you know, I was on the on-ramp, I was taking it pretty slow because there was just a lot of traffic trying to get onto the freeway, and I saw a sport bike pass by on the carpool lane, you know, no problem and stuff, like he's got no traffic because no one, you know, rides to carpool. And I would say like 3 minutes later, I caught up to him. No problem. You know, I was just casually cruising. I wasn't trying to push it or try to catch up or anything. I just realized, like, oh, I passed him. So I realized, like, okay, like I'm at the pace of my CB650 now with this bike, which it means I'm very comfortable with it. I think I have enough experiences to speak on, you know, make a review on it, just my impressions of this bike. Oh, the fucking way. Fuel consumption is horrible on this thing. If you're riding it, you know, gently, you know, below 3,000 RPM, you are going to get, you know, what you expect out of motorcycle fuel consumption. Well, what the fuck? Something's going on over there. Uh-oh. What? Something's on fire. Oh! Something was on fire over there. But right now I smell like burnt rubber. But yeah, the fuel consumption, I would say you're getting around 40 miles per gallon if you're just riding this gently. By gently, I mean just, you know, just not, you're not fucking full throttle. You know, you're just topping it out everywhere. But once you start doing that, once you start pushing this bike, the engine, it starts to you get horrible gas mileage. You get like 20 miles per gallon, maybe, I think 16. I don't even know how bad it is because I'm not sure how big this tank is. I've never done the calculations, but you know, I didn't know if my brother, he topped it off or not when I first started borrowing the bike. So I rode 20 miles, and this bike, it drank up a gallon just on me riding it like a dumbass that first day that I borrowed it. But yeah, that's about it about this bike. My impressions. It's just I don't like how cars how they can now notice me. They won't let me pass. I gotta really like what you call it. Like, yeah, you see, loud pipes don't save lives, but whatever. What the fuck was I saying? Oh yeah, I just really have to not fucking be aggressive and just, you know, smash fucking mirrors and shit, because it's just, you know, it's not my bike. I don't want to be, you know, again, it's not my bike. I don't want to be doing that shit on someone else's bike, you know, where I can potentially, you know, drop it, whatever, crash it. Just no. On my bike, I'll do whatever the fuck I want, but on other people's bikes, no. Like right now, this is just casual, even though it seems a bit fast for a Harley. I'm not really wringing out the engine all too much. Just quick little bursts here and there because it's got such a insane amount of torque. But then again, is it really insane when you have 1200 cc's? Like, not really. Especially because you got these giant fucking 600 cc fucking pistons. So it's nothing to be impressed about, but still, the power is there. This bike, I don't believe it's all that heavy, to be honest. It is a sport that people are surprised with how powerful it is when they see it when I pull into the yard, the bus yard. People are like, whoa, like, like that thing's tiny. I'm like, no, it's not. It's more powerful than my red bike, because they're familiar with seeing my red bike every day. So, yeah, people are surprised with the size of it, but it is not. If you look at the specs, the 1200 is potentially faster than like the Dyno or the Softail or those bigger bikes, the bigger Harleys. Even though Harley isn't all about performance, even though why do they sell big ass engines if they're not about performance? But still, this is the Sportster 1200. It is a powerful bike. It is the most, or one of the most powerful bikes that Harley offers. Up until now with the Sportster 1200S, or whatever the fuck it's called, Sportster S, with the liquid cooled 1200 now. But still, I don't expect Harley riders to even touch the surface of what the 1200 or the Sportster S can offer. Just my experience with riding alongside Harley people all day, it's embarrassing how slow these people are. But then again, I don't think I'm a normal rider. A lot of people tell me I'm gonna die soon because of the way I ride, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just, I haven't watched yet. Maybe I'm just gifted. Maybe I'm just, being protected by, I don't know, some guardian angel or something. But I don't know. Just the way people ride, I kind of find it embarrassing at the pace that they ride at, especially with how powerful their bikes are. And just how trusting a lot of riders are of cars around them. Like, you just saw maybe like 2 or 3 accidents that I could have gotten into. Granted, I could have prevented it just by not pushing, but still, just being trusting of the cars around us, that's fucking stupid. I would never. I'm always riding slightly faster. I don't give a shit if the cops here are watching, whatever. I'm just out here for my safety. These cops aren't here to protect us anyways. Right now in a pretty good pocket, the cops are right on my ass now, so I'm gonna fuck off. Yeah, we got plenty of time. Let's take the streets. But yeah, as you can see, I'm getting very I just get very aggravated on this fucking bike because I'm tired because of the vibrations, the sound, the uncomfortable seating position. Because you would think, you're sitting like you are on a couch. Not really. With your legs stretched out like this, I don't know what this muscle is right here, like in your inner thigh. That gets strained a lot, and it's not like I don't work that muscle out. I do every other day. So it's just sitting on this for 20 miles, which is on average 20 to 30 minutes, is just, you're just putting a strain on that muscle. Not comfortable at all. But again, this bike commands a very different riding experience, as opposed to and maybe I have this wrong, but as opposed to like sport bikes or naked bikes, where if you want to push the limits of the suspension and shit, you're hopping left, you know, you're leaning off the bike and stuff, you're hopping on the pegs. As opposed to this, you're pretty much just planted on the seat. You know, if you want to hit a pothole, well, good luck. You know, just your back's gonna take it. But if you want to lean hard, I guess you can kind of lean off the bike. But I don't know, it doesn't feel intuitive at all. Yeah, it doesn't feel intuitive. So you're just kind of sitting here, and it kind of feels like you're in a roller coaster in a way, where you're just kind of along for the ride. You know, you're not really in command, essentially, of like your riding position. You're just kind of sitting here. You're locked in place. You can try to lean off the thing, but it just doesn't feel right, and I don't think it would be wise to push the suspension on this kind of bike, especially with how lacking the tread is. You know, how narrow the lean angle is on these bikes. Like, what's the point of leaning off if you're just gonna, you know, lose tread? But as you can see, a very powerful bike. Yeah, I mean, that's all I gotta say. When it comes to street riding, I mean, it's pretty simple. Nothing crazy. The clutch does pick up real fucking quick. Because again, it's a very torquey engine. So you'd be surprised how out of control first gear can get fast or quick or whatever. For example, I'll try to demonstrate. We'll come to a stop here, and the rear brakes are pretty powerful. And then first gear, just very, very tiny inputs of everything, because again, it's very torquey. Right there, you see, I didn't even gas it, and the clutch picked up, and I just kind of launched. You try doing that on an inline four, you're gonna stall out. But again, this thing is just very, very torquey, whatever. Impressive. I mean, I like it. I like the power. But then again, it's 1200 cc's. If you want to get good gas mileage, you gotta ride conservatively on this thing, unless you don't mind paying the 20 miles per gallon that this thing will demand after you're riding like a dumbass for a while. And again, this sounds nice when you're riding like this, just below 2000 RPM. It's not too loud. But once you get above 2500 is when your ears start droning and shit.